Last year in Florida, there were 80,000 pregnancies terminated. And here's a sobering statistic. By midnight tonight, when most of us are sound asleep, another 219 precious boys and girls will have been killed in the state of Florida. I'm Mark Mink. I was conceived in an unplanned pregnancy. My teenage birth mother graciously placed me for adoption. Now I'm the state chairman for the Human Life Protection Amendment Citizen Initiative. Our mission is to amend the Florida Constitution through a grassroots citizen effort so the most victimized and vulnerable are protected. To accomplish this, we need almost 900,000 signatures from registered voters across the state of Florida by February 1st of 2024. With the bloodshed of the most precious happening on our watch, I'm asking for your help to build a wall of protection around these preborn lives, a constitutional wall of protection. Their very lives depend upon it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another live edition of Veteran Nation. Joining me as always is the honorable man up north, TC Pearson. TC, how you doing?
Oh, you've used honorable before, so I thought we were using a new.
You're like a congressman. I'll come up with some more.
Wow. What happened to the respect issue? Like, you just compared me to a congressman. That's like comparing me to an Air Force officer.
You're gonna have Juan take us down midstream. You keep making those Air Force jokes.
No, not us. You. I mean me. Yeah, me. That's
fired mid-show.
I'm curious. It looks like did we start a makeup line?
I don't know what that was, but hey, if it's gonna keep the lights on, I'll do makeup commercials.
Chicks with guns and makeup. That's every veteran's dream. I mean,
I went into a little bit of a rabbit hole this week looking at the analytics of our YouTube channel, and the majority of our audience on YouTube is women, about 60%. So I'm imagining that they're here for my...
You're welcome.
They're here for my rugged good looks.
You're welcome. I bring that.
All the lonely women up there in Minnesota.
I'm just curious, like... Women don't have to be lonely.
Yeah, Conspiracy Kitty. Juan's holding up a sign, Conspiracy Kitty. Conspiracy Kitty brings in a lot of people to the channel. In fact,
I thought that was... The way that was written, it looked like it was written in a Puerto Rican doctor's handwriting.
You will have to watch on the Air Force jokes because our guest today is an Air Force veteran.
And? So? What's in your point? Like,
you're like, no, that's just going to make me do twice as many.
No one gets a break. Ooh, be nice to the guest, TC. Be nice.
Well, actually, our guest has fought MMA in the past, so yeah, you might want to be careful.
Like fought the entire MMA, or like fought fights in the MMA? Because I mean, if it was the entire MMA, I'd be okay with that. Like that would be impressive. But if it was just a few fights, in my former life, in the career that I lost for my viewpoints, everybody was man, I fight MMA on the weekends, and I'm like, no, you get drunk and show up to like crowd-funded fights is what you do.
I would imagine the people that you were dealing
no
with
offense
were...
to our esteemed Air Force guest. I'm sure they fought in actual MMA, which is more than what you and I do. You just go to restaurants and get kicked out for having a dog, and I go to school board meetings and get yelled at by superintendents
and backyard
administrators,
wrestling.
so.
I'm very big in the backyard, in the underground backyard wrestling circles.
The number one rule of Veteran Nation Club: you never talk about Veteran Nation Club.
And our ratings show it.
I had a conversation with our friend Theory the other day, and I told her, like, we're doing our best to remember to talk about Right America Media, as well as talk about New Right Network.
Mm-hmm.
And I reached out to her because of a friend up here that was kicked out of a Republican state central committee meeting.
Really?
Because he didn't have press credentials. He wasn't valid. He wasn't valid press because he didn't have press credentials. And I thought that's. I'd like to have him. He's not a vet, but I'd like to have him. Oh, exactly. I'm so tired of seeing this, especially with all the auditors that you and I watch. Where are your credentials? My what? It's called the.
It's a camera.
Just a camera in the First Amendment. Thank you. But anyway, so I fight those kind of fights. Does that count?
It should count for something. That's for sure.
All right. So are you going to introduce our guest, or are you going to just make me sit here and fill the airtime because you have the personality of a dead frog tonight?
No one wants to watch us run our sucks. We do that enough. We'll bring our guest in.
Run our what?
Our sucks. They never told you that in boot camp? Running your suck too much? Your suck hole.
Let's just bring in our guest, please.
So okay. I always butcher names, and I know I said it right last night. Jaye, correct?
Kairi.
Jaye. See, okay, yeah. I always screw it up. You watch, I'll say it correct.
If it makes you feel any better, you can't even get my name right most of the time, so.
It's all good. All good. No offense taken. I'm not going to get caught up on a name. But it's nice to meet you, TC. Skipper, good to see you again, man. It was a good chat yesterday.
Welcome to the show.
I appreciate you saying that. Most people, like, even 2 minutes in, they're like, yeah, can we move on?
Dude, you dropped a one-liner a second ago. I already forgot it, but it was a really good one. Like, even chat was going on about it.
The one about the ratings?
It was like the... Yeah. It was a good dad joke. I appreciated it.
Oh, I bring the bad jokes to the show.
The one about the what?
Or that our ratings.
The one about the ratings. Well, thanks for having me on, guys. I just wanted to start with saying, like, anything, the elephant in the room, anything, like, any questions about this or about me or whatever, that's totally cool. Like, I'm not on the edge of my seat waiting to be offended by something.
I like how you were like, anything about this? I'm like,
yeah.
That's the story of my life. What are you talking about? 52 years
of
this. People, like, having questions about this. What?
So just so we're clear, we can ask anything.
Anything.
No, shut up.
Are you going to keep your wiener? Which, yes. For all that didn't ask.
I get more, as because we did a little bit of a chat last night. I get more interested in the weird dudes who fetishize. Like, that's where I'm like, really? There are guys out there who are like that creepy and do these things, like in the stuff you were saying that they say.
So you're talking about, like, are we talking people that cross dress, or what are we talking?
No, dudes who fetishize.
Like the chasers, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they are definitely real. Like, oh, dude, it's not gay because it's but I mean, they always get caught up on the wrong things. They're not looking at the big picture most of the time.
Now, TC, she has a charity that she runs, or a nonprofit. I don't know what the correct term is.
The same thing.
Okay. Because, California, as I'm learning, as we're switching ours to a nonprofit.
Kairi runs a charity. We run a nonprofit. We don't make any money.
Not yet.
As we've transitioned to a nonprofit, we are keeping up the name.
I was telling Skip yesterday that if I can help with that, in any regard, I would be happy to, because I had to go into it completely blind, learn some lessons on the way of just getting it formally started, the paperwork side of things. So I actually have a really good template for bylaws.
Skipper wanted to do a calendar, and I'm pretty sure that no one wants to see Skipper in a bikini. So
why not?
If you could help me talk him out of that.
There's always someone out there for something. Like, somebody would be into it.
What I like is they have those the jean they're like Speedos, but they're jeans.
Did I show you that old picture of me in the Speedo yesterday? I don't think I did. I should have sent it. No. That would have been funny. I can send it now.
Well, maybe
it's got a whole story
real
behind
quick.
it.
If you want to show it, maybe we can get to Juan real quick. But I
just
did want to.
It's embarrassing as shit.
I did want to ask you a couple things about your service as well, because you're an Air Force veteran, and how many years did you serve?
Only 2. I got out after going to mental health. I signed for 6, went for 2. Mental health wound up being a death sentence to my career. I was planning on going full ride, like all the way to the 20, but things happen. I was not feeling great at the time, and I'm still glad I did, because I'm pretty happy now. Like, the way my life turned out, I'm pretty happy.
Mm-hmm. And what units were you with?
I was with the 12th Reconnaissance Squadron for the entire 2 years. I mean, we had like our training squadrons, like 323 and all that, but those don't count.
Okay. And that's we were talking last night, and you were telling us you went to mental health, and that, as you said right now, that killed it. Can you explain a little bit as to what went on with that, so people have a little bit of an understanding?
Yeah, I do want to preface it with, they say that it's gotten better. I'm not in. I got out in 2012, so I don't know. But they say it's not a death sentence to your career anymore. I wouldn't trust it just based on my experience. But I was in a flying squadron, and so we have to be flight qualified, etc. And I went to mental health after the May 4th, 2011, and I told them, I didn't go in there and say anything crazy. I didn't go in there and say, like, I'm finna kill you and then kill me. Like, I just told them I wasn't feeling great. Like, I feel sad lately. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. And, I walked out of the therapist's office. Old Captain. I still remember his name. I'm not going to dox the shit out of him, but I remember him. He was such a sweetheart. And I walked out of there. I was kind of had some pep in my step. Like, went to therapy, man. That was a big step. Got in my car. I put it in reverse. And before I could put the car into drive, my phone was ringing. And it was my NCOIC calling to tell me that I had been indefinitely flight disqualified. That fast.
That's I can understand that.
What was the reasoning? Was it suicidal ideation or
mental instability? So whatever that means, it seems like a really broad blanket type of
talk about a
concern or whatever they labeled it as. Yeah, I mean, seriously, I'm not doing the best at advocating for it. Like, go to mental health. Go if you need it. Go, absolutely go. But you also have to go in educated and know what you like. What you say will have consequences. If you go in there and say you're suicidal, they're going to Baker Act you. I mean, you're going to spend some time with the grippy socks for a little bit.
I find this very interesting because that's similar time frame to when I first started going to mental health while I was still in, and yeah,
Really?
much different experience. There, I didn't get that type of retaliation. I got other retaliation. So interesting.
Was it from the boys back home or from command or something?
Yeah, commanders, I was put on a deployment because I was requesting an investigation over things that had happened. I started having suicidal ideations because things were happening around the command, and I was one of the few who would speak up about it. The other two were uh, very quickly showed in the door. I had time left on my orders, so I was sent to overseas to Abu Dhabi. So that's why I got to spend over a year in Abu Dhabi.
Was it fun?
Actually, yeah, because they were trying to send me to Afghanistan, and some major swooped in and took that billet. So they were like, "Well, we have this other one we're going to send him on," and you know, I was an hour away from Dubai. It was paradise.
Dude, that's like
You're
saying
just
I
like
don't
saying
feel
Abu
very
Dhabi.
good. Abu Dhabi. I don't feel good. All right, here's Kandahar Mountains.
Yeah. Oh, you've had suicidal ideations? Let's put you around some rounds.
That'll put some pep in your step, buddy.
Let's give him a grenade and some alone time.
Give some grenades, some thoughts. Why do you keep going, man? You know what? That's so dark.
I'm just reading the comments here. A lot of people
So
are
so
chiming in.
Skipper's tried to talk about your nonprofit charity thing. Can you tell us about it, since Skipper keeps like sidetracking with his own
Sure.
personal stories? Like, we care about Skipper's story.
I just follow right along too. I'm like, yeah, we'll talk about a different topic because my ADHD is like all over the place too. I guess to like, how do you want the longer version? I could give you like where it came from, or just tell you about what it is.
Well,
Both.
first of all, the name of the charity would be great promotionally,
Veterans Gaming
and
and
then
Mental Health Mission.
Veterans Gaming and Mental Health Mission.
So there was a
You
lot
can-
of names
You
that
can
we
tell
went
Skipper's
through.
not the pro.
We went through a lot of different ideas for names, and then I decided on a really cookie cutter kind of name because I wanted it to be clear like what it was for. Because had I known that other organizations like this existed already, I would have probably just joined one. But I couldn't find any when I did my research on. I guess I didn't search right. But there's awesome organizations out there that do it really, really big, like Stack Up. But the name Stack Up didn't tell me what it was.
Mhm.
So that's why we went with a kind of generic, boilerplate seeming name. Because that and VGMH kind of rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's funny.
So
'cause when we created
what's
ours?
the thrust or the gist? What's the thrust or the gist of VGMH?
I mean, really, I could give you the executive answer, and our mission statement is we will not have boots on the ground. But ultimately, it's about having people that get it. They know what the suck feels like to be in. But even so, they would rather hear about your story than hear about your funeral. Like, it's pretty simple. Just having people that care, good people around you.
What's traction like? Are you getting anywhere?
So it depends. Like if we're running one of our giveaways, we do a PC giveaway every month for veterans in need and first responders. This next one will be for everyone to join, but typically it's for veterans only. When we run those, the influx is pretty significant, but otherwise it's got a good steady trickle. I mean, a few new members every day. I'm happy with the pace. I mean, I can't even believe I'm saying like, we're pacing very well. Like, coming from me, who was a nobody, total loser, and to be able to say like we are even pacing at all I'm just really grateful for that.
Skipper, what on God's earth are you doing?
Conspiracy Kitty is running all around here, and I was just making sure because he was on the tower of my PC, and I had to move him off, making sure that he didn't hit my reset button.
I knew you were beating that cat, dude. Just slap the shit out of him. Get off.
Your PC still has a tower?
Yeah, I
What?
actually got a gaming
Dude.
PC.
Are you one of those monitor nerds?
No comment.
My PC has. I could pack my PC up and put it in a wallet.
We're so advanced here. He's using a netbook.
My man's is on Neuralink, dude. Oh, you don't have to say it. I already know.
Now, I do want to
Well, mostly because the fans and supporters of my show were tired of me using really old equipment, and one of them's like, "Dude, I'm sending you something." I'm like,
dude,
"What?"
that's awesome.
He goes, "You'll find out." And so I ended up with a mic, and the next thing I know, I got a computer and a new cam, and Juan doesn't know how to deal with me. You got new equipment; it works too well. What? He's used to dealing with Skipper, so.
We got one of our watchers, Austin, says that Skipper's still on ARPANET, and that is probably true.
ARPANET. All right. Get the Dreamcast out, boys.
Our Usenet boards are lighting up tonight.
I had a question.
Our chat is just on fire tonight. What is it? Is it because we brought a trans person in? Is that what it is? It's so everybody's here to see the train wreck.
Yeah. Wait.
It's on fire. I was like, we literally have more people in chat now than we've ever had viewers.
Nice. And Facebook has done pretty well tonight too. Because we stream
a lot of
5 different
out there,
formats. Nothing like spreading our audience.
You guys need Jesus.
Juan's over there going, yes, they need. They definitely need Jesus. So what's your gaming and mental health? So explain how those work together, because what I've seen from people who spend a lot of time online gaming is that it's not helping their mental health. So
yeah. Well, naturally, anything can be an addiction, like including an escape avenue, which, like, even for me, gaming was an escape for many, many, many years. I mean, I started really gaming.
I never drink alcohol.
Yeah, dude, I'm an alcoholic too, man. I've rehabs, programs, all sorts. Like, I've been through it. That sauce is so tricky, man. But I went through a lot of bottles trying to find some answers. Never found them in there. But
so I derailed you. So tell us a little bit about what the thrust there again, the thrust of veterans and mental health and gaming.
So that came from the way gaming really saved me, because on December 21st of 2020, I had put a loaded gun in my mouth and pulled the trigger. And that was, I was checking out. I was done. I was tired, been homeless, alcoholic, alone. Shit sucked. And all my feelings caught me. And at the time, the only thing that made sense was tasting some lead. So I don't I'm a marksman. I'm proficient with a weapon. And I, to this day, don't know how that even played out to not fire. So I laid on the floor for like 2 days, just wallowing, picked myself up, and was like, you know what, dude, if you got nothing left to lose, like if you've got nothing left, you've got nothing left to lose. So why not do the stuff that you've been wanting to do that you're afraid of? So I started streaming, and that was where the gaming played in, because I would be playing games on stream and started to develop like a community. And it was weird, because I starting out, I wanted to be the big time streamer guy like anybody else. I had no plans to be nonprofit streamer girl. That was not on the books at all. But it's funny how life plays out. Through that gaming and making that community, that led me to find a bunch of healing, because I found the strength to look at myself in a mirror objectively, because I knew that they had my 6 on it. Like if I got too low, those people would be there to pick me up, because they proved it. I would tell them worse and worse and worse things about me, and they would still stick around and be like, that was fucked up, but we still love you. So that taught me a lot. And that was all through gaming. We'd just be gaming together, doing, shooting the shit. And then we get into heavy talks and stuff. And that was the whole formula.
Are you finding that you're connecting with other veterans more now than you might have in the past?
You mean like related to transition?
No, I don't, and I don't mean to downplay what you went through with the transition issue, but I think the mental health aspect, the suicidal ideation issue, is far more prevalent. So, like Skipper knows, and Juan knows that I've got some supporters of my show, my independent show, that have a son. He's the dad is a veteran, the mom is a veteran. Dad's a special forces veteran, and they have a son that stepped out in front of a vehicle a few weeks ago. We're assuming was an attempt at suicide.
Did they make it?
And he's in critical condition, and still like they're having to keep him sedated, keeping him in a coma, because he's a ranger, and he had a couple of 1 or 2 bad missions in Afghanistan, and that really weighed on him, and they discharged him. They just kicked him to the curb. Like, you're not adjusting, you're not handling this right, so we're going to get rid of you. And the VA wasn't there until here just a few weeks ago. They just finally awarded him 100% disability. The problem is 100% disability doesn't do anything for your mental health. It just says you get some money every month. And so Garrett steps out in front of this vehicle, gets hit, and now it's touch and go. Every day I'm waiting to hear either he's coming out of the coma or he's going to die. And the thrust of that is veterans, more than anybody, in know how to connect with one another in a way that other people don't understand. And so are you finding that? Huh?
I might challenge that.
Well, I would like for you to do that then. Go ahead.
I did not mean to interrupt you. Super sorry.
No. You're the guest. So
with that's one of the walls I kind of want to break down.
So
I want to see if I can break down that wall. I think that disillusionment of like only other veterans will get it. I think get the cat out, but I think this is sown by a divide that's sown by design. Because united we are stronger, and the powers that play know that. So veterans and civilians, there you get told, well, they'll never get it. But if you look at it like, okay, if you've got a civilian and a veteran, you got a veteran who saw war and combat, or a veteran that went through military sexual trauma, or a veteran that was in uniform and something fucked up happened. Could have been a chef taking a trash out and something fucked up happened, and they're traumatized. And then you got the civilian who had, like a burning wreck or a DUI accident or something, and they're traumatized. Like both of those people know what it feels like to feel the suck, whether they were in a uniform or not. So I think that it's just easier, like you said, to relate to veterans because we're just predispositioned to have experienced the suck, I think, a lot more than the average person.
Well, you're signing up for the suck. I mean, let's just be honest. Whether you're Air Force or Army, Navy, or Marines, you're signing up for the suck. You're signing up for long periods of disconnection from family and friends. Your family and your friends become the people that you live in the build. are, are are you trying to get a sponsorship for for
Yeah,
for us though, not for
yeah, for you
um
guys, for you, just hanging.
but I think the reason why a lot of times veterans, from my perspective, I think veterans get tired of hearing about the person who claims to have PTSD or complex PTSD or other mental health issues that are related to the work that they do,
Mhm.
who they work in a bank or they work in a grocery store or whatever the case might be. And that's not to downplay their mental health struggles, but a person who's been in combat or who has, trained with or worked alongside of individuals on a daily basis who are training to go out and kill people. And let's be
Mhm.
honest, that's what the military is about. That's what we do. We kill people and we break stuff. That's the whole goal. It's far different
I broke a
than
lot.
yeah,
Broke
well,
my
and
heart.
yeah, don't skipper, don't derail me. Um, so what ends up happening is that they can Juan's just grinning. It's just he knows. Um, there it's so much different, and it's kind of the same with the law enforcement community. These are the people you spend your time with every day. You're relying on, you're counting on, and even if they're not experiencing this exact same mental health crisis that you might be experiencing, there should be a reality wherein they can relate to you.
Mhm.
And the civilian population cannot relate to the person whose entire life for 2 years or 3 years or 4 years or 20 years or whatever it might be was built around killing people and seeing death and mayhem, sometimes at their own, but at their own action, by the end of their own action, at the
Mhm.
end of their own trigger pull. And that to me is what unites the veteran community, a segment of the veteran
Mhm.
community, in a way that other people will never understand.
Yeah, I mean, they can, if you, unless you've worn the uniform or you've been on, first, or like I even think first responder versus veteran is obviously different. But I think what you're describing is camaraderie related. I
Well,
mean,
it's
I
kind of
think that
like
that's a big part that.
it kind of goes back to that joke. How many veterans does it take to screw in a light bulb?
Mhm.
You don't know because you weren't there.
That's so dumb. It's so dumb. I want to make a
So
TikTok out of that.
just so you know, this is what I deal with on every show.
Every show.
Oh, I love it, dude. A
Every,
little bit of levity, a little
every,
bit of truth. I mean, I'm all for it.
every show.
I have an example for you that I want to run by you and get your thoughts on. Because like
Okay.
I agree and then also disagree on some parts. And I want to figure out what I'm thinking too. So you were saying that, that part they'll never have the understanding of what it was like. And that's true. But I don't think that results in total disconnect. Because I believe that trauma is trauma is trauma. So the example is you have a 16-year-old girl driving to high school and she gets in a fender bender that kind of whips her around and she gets like whiplash or something and develops an aversion to cars, like being in vehicles, because she was
And I
traumatized
think I
from it.
speak for
That's
everyone that we want every 16-year-old girl to have an aversion to cars.
yeah, yeah. Especially women. God, I'm joking, guys. Relax. Um, she gets whipped around and she's traumatized, right? Because that was her system saying, "Fuck that! I can't deal with that. I don't know how to process that." Then you got subject two, the soldier 11 Bravo out in the field, uh, 3 Humvee convoy rear hits an IED, they flip, and then he gets ejected, right? Runs back to the Humvee, and his fucking brother in arms is sitting there burning to death, and he tries to pull them out, degloves him on the way out, and did not save him. So he's traumatized. I think that both individuals are equally traumatized.
Makes
I mean,
sense.
the little girl, she'll probably get over it.
I agree with you that a person who's been in a near-death experience, whether it's near-death in everybody else's eyes or not, doesn't matter. Right. But a person who's had a near-death experience certainly has that trauma to deal with. Mm-hmm. I think for me, what I see is, whether it's in the military world or in the first responder, especially law enforcement community, is that it's a trained catastrophe. You're always training for the worst case scenario.
Right.
And I think that in and of itself builds trauma on a regular basis.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Like you can absolutely be traumatized, like even from training. Just the concept of being in front of it and dealing with the reality of death. Because like if you look at the root of trauma, it's the absolute play on your insecurity because you have no control in that moment over life and death. And
now, do you think the gaming helps because because a lot of games you kind of reface some of these situations? Like if you can face a car crash in GTA, you can face a war situation in Call of Duty, or do you think it's just the community?
It would be, I don't want to give a generic answer like it would be a case by case, but it depends because different people have different methods of healing. Some people may, I forget CBT, not to be confused with cock and ball torture, but cognitive behavioral therapy. I'm pretty sure that's where they like subject you to it repeatedly, and then you just get over it. But it's like proven not to work.
We just lost all our sponsors.
Hey, I was just giving clarity. My bad.
Everyone, you can't see Juan, but Juan is right now taking notes.
I don't know where Juan is right now. It looks like he's sitting outside of the principal's office of a school. He just threw cock and ball torture.
This just became my favorite episode ever.
And I knew as soon as you said CBT, I knew you meant cognitive behavioral therapy. I knew that. But you took the cock and ball torture, and I'm so glad we end the show in 3 minutes because I can't keep it together at this point.
Are we already done in 3 minutes?
Yeah, we've got 3 minutes left in the show.
Mike says we got to be done by 8. I don't know. It's like his adult diapers.
Go ahead. Take the floor. Anything you want to talk about before can go.
No, you guys hot seat me on whatever, because we can talk. I want to bring. I'm here for VGMH. I'm here for our veterans.
Sure.
I'm also here for those veterans that identify similar to me, because there are a lot of us out there.
So one of the things that Mike pitched to me was that, like, okay, so I got this individual that's coming on, and they're trans, but they're conservative.
Oh boy,
because they're. Well, no, it doesn't bother me, honestly, because quite frankly, I have several friends. Josh Slocum from the Disaffected podcast, who is an openly gay, like flamboyantly gay man, who's also found himself in the conservative camp. My friend Mike Harlow is openly gay and has now found himself so openly gay and conservative that he's fleeing New York and moving to Florida. And then I have Jen and Meg, who head up Gays Against Groomers in California, in their area, California, who are in a. I don't know if they're technically married or not under California law, but they live together. They're ultra conservative,
right?
And people don't see that as a reality for people who are trans or who are gay. They assumed everybody's a hardcore leftist because they're trans or gay, or and they don't understand that there are a lot of people in that community who hate being labeled as part of the LGBTQ community because the LGBTQ community does not represent them. And Skipper told me flat out that there's a part of you, like you despise a lot of the stuff that's being done to children, and you're vocal about that. Has that caused you some pushback? Has that
Oh
contributed to
yeah,
your
dude.
struggles mental health wise?
I don't know. Well, I guess at the time I would say it affected my mental health because I was freshly out. I stumbled into realizing I was trans by accident, and then when I first came out, I went and like followed a bunch of trans people on Twitter and tried to like circle myself around my people. But I came to realize after about 2 months that I didn't really identify with a lot of these individuals. I thought differently. I don't know if I feel differently, but I think differently than them. Um, my real thought was these people are stupid. What like I so two things with the LGBTQ plus alphabet whatever. Um, I understand their advocacy for equal rights, equal representation, etc. I don't understand pride parades where people are covered in dildos and taking their kids out and subjecting them to that sort of environment, children. So, and then there's like the small, but vocal minority of trans ageism. Fuck that. I'm totally out on that. Don't even associate me at that point because I will do anything and everything I can to protect the children. Because think about it, we're all fucked up a little bit because we've all been traumatized, and so not all, a lot of us have been traumatized in ways. Starts when we're young, all too often, and somebody took that innocence from you. Like your outlook on life was shattered. They should be allowed. It is their birthright as human beings to be allowed that sanctity and clarity of mind for as long as they can until something or someone comes along and is like, hey, here's life.
Do you? I don't want to ask this.
Do it.
No. It's. Do you find that the military community, the veterans community, is struggling with where you were when you were in versus where you are now, and when you tell your story, or do people just not care?
Most of the time, okay, so most of the time people don't realize. Like if we meet on the internet and they see my picture, then I can show them.
You're getting a lot of you're getting a
Yo.
lot of you're getting a lot of how you do it.
Yeah, until my
Yeah.
fucking talk, and they're like, "Oh, oh, oh, okay," and then it's like,
Oh.
whatever. Like, dude, I can't tell you how many
All
open
of a
mouth
sudden they're
stares.
not interested in dating anymore.
Well, good, because I'm not here for dating. I'm here for business. I'm here to save the world, baby. I got time for dating. But, to answer your question, like most of the time people don't care. I have had pushback. It seems like the tougher the meathead, the more inclined they are to be like, eh. But I'm undeniable.
You deal
Like
with a lot of
I'm,
Marines.
yeah, crayon eaters and the window lickers in the army.
Yes, I didn't even have to feed her the joke.
Just flying right over them, zooming out of here. Air Force, woo! That was so dumb. I hate myself. That's got to be clipped out of context.
I hate myself.
I hate myself.
So, have you found that your identification is making it easier for you to reach people at the charity level, or has it? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, dude, I don't know how else to say it, but life got easier in some aspects as a woman. I just was fortunate to turn out what I think okay looking. So people are like, most of the time they're like, "Ah, pretty girl." But then I'm like, "Yo." So that's when I get the open mouth stare
Skipper
for a
would
second.
totally date you. If it wasn't for the age difference, Skipper would totally.
I'm 30. I'm getting up there. What are you, Skipper? 52? Dude, I'm joking.
No, I was gonna say.
Finally,
I was actually gonna hit TC up with. How many times do you think I've been to Thailand?
Taiwanese love.
52. Juan, do you have the side by side comparison of Skipper and Despicable Me Group?
Oh, Groove.
No,
Damn, you just
No,
gonna light
he's
Skipper
not at
up like
home.
that, dude?
Yeah,
That's fucked up.
yeah. Oh, you clearly haven't watched enough of our show to know. I light him up like this every week. This is why we can pretty much set a clock by. It's every other week now for a live show because Skipper just can't handle it anymore.
And that's why I do the jokes, because he absolutely hates them. Like, do you know how you can find Fresh Prince, or how you can find Will Smith in the snow?
Chris Rock is there.
No, you follow the Fresh Prince. I
All right, guys, this is
stepped
gonna
on
be the
that
end of the show.
myself.
But no, man, like given all the trans stuff, you know, just before we get cut for time, I just want to say, like, dude, be yourself. Like, it may be scary,
Yeah.
but bravery is not the absence of fear, but the disregard of it. I mean, I've never been happier in my life. Not due to this. This wasn't due, like, I wasn't chasing something in this. I just realized it, and then I had the freedom to do it. That's why this is the greatest country on the planet. That's those same freedoms that all of us here fought for. And I think once I get that point across, that breaks down a lot of barriers, TC, to any predisposition or apprehension of me, because they, like I was saying, I'm undeniable in that, but it's also undeniable that I care. I would rather hear what's going on than hear about you dying.
Are you finding that you're getting more pushback from other people who are trans or gay or lesbian who find out where you stand on things ideologically and they're like really disappointed in you?
In my head, yeah. I haven't, like, it hasn't been vocalized, but I mean, I'll do it right here and set myself up for some, like, children. I don't think they should transition. I think you should not be able to do any of that stuff until you have the autonomy to consent. You can't consent if you cannot fathom the actions of your the consequences of your actions. You are like, you're not developed enough to do that. You can think you're smart as can be, but some things just come with time and experience. I think the age of consent should probably be 21, but then we'd lose half our military. I mean, because it's how can a child understand the gravity of what they're saying? I agree with Matt Walsh when he says, if your child comes up to you and says, your boy child comes up to you and says, I want to be a girl, ask them, what do girls do that you want to do? Because four out of 5 times I'll talk somebody out of being trans if they come to me like, Kairi, I think I'm like you. I'm like, you're probably not. Let's figure it out. Because you don't want this. You don't want the hate. There's so much hate because there's a lot of spin out there for people in the trans community. The old trope, they did it to gay people back in the 90s with they're coming for your kids, and then what I think is planted seeds of, like, groomers. Of course there's groomers, that's like a real issue, but I think it's played out on the media to put a spin of whatever political football is hot right now. Because if you wait 5 years, mark my words, 5 years from now, when transgender people are like, oh, whatever, they're going to be saying somebody else are after the kids or something like that, just to sow, fear. And fear sells, and fear controls. I'm not here to hurt nobody. I'm not. If I can help it, I'm never hurting anybody ever again. Because I truly don't know that anybody knows the amount of violence it took to become this gentle.
Now, before we have to wrap up, can you talk a little bit more about the nonprofit and where people can find it?
Sure.
And what they can expect to join?
Absolutely. So Veterans Gaming and Mental Health Mission, if you get on the old Google, or you can go to vgmhmission.org, there's a bit of info for us there. But our end game is to get you in the Discord, because that's where we can talk. That's where we can see each other's face and connect. That's where you can be like, oh, so-and-so's playing COD. Yeah, nice plug. The Discord is discord.gg/VGMH. Super simple. When they join, you can expect these people are my family, because my family disowned me when I came out completely. They didn't bat an eye. 8.5 years of rampant addiction. Oh, whatever. Rehabs, etc. But you feel like a woman. So I had to find a new family, and these people, my family, will welcome you with open arms. Doesn't matter how fucked up you think you are, they're going to be here. And you can just have, like, we've got peer support that's always active, peer-to-peer support where it's completely confidential. You can talk to people about whatever you're going through, and what happens in that peer support stays in peer support. There's a lot of going-ons that I don't know about in there. And then our PC giveaways every month for veterans, general mental health support, support of you as a human being, and camaraderie. Transparency, camaraderie, and respect is a few big things you can expect to find there.
Excellent. I think Juan does have a video for us before we wrap things up. And before we get to that, I do want to remind everyone you can follow us on Facebook. We have our Facebook group, Veteran Nation. We're on Twitter at VetNationPod. We're also on Instagram at VetNationShow. But we got a video up.
Dude, this video looks awesome already.
Marines, hey, what's up, guys? Air Force here. Heard you guys were having a little oppie op. Wanted to see if you guys needed some help. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, how are we supporting?
We're going to step off at 2200, go into a recon position.
Recon. Love that class in Battlefield 4.
Great. Yeah, we'll start off at 03. We'll need
In the morning?
to bring at least 2 squads to run an inner and outer cordon.
More like James Corden.
We can snatch this up. We'll also need a react team.
Box 1, this is Box 8. I need to talk to 1 Bravo. Really testing my...
That area right there is full of IEDs. Plus, that's too far for an outer cordon. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say we set the outer cordon in around here. Then we'll put the inner cordon around the compound just to make it simple.
That should be on safe.
You guys go and do your thing, and we'll be right outside if you need help.
Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what I'm doing here. This is an airsoft rifle.
I can't defend that. Like, I got nothing. That's so accurate.
The Air Force proving that the Girl Scouts are manlier than... Never mind.
Whoa, dude. No.
Which is probably why Juan still hasn't called me to talk about my own slot on the network.
Yeah, burn them bridges, baby. I'm here to get canceled, so let's do it. I had something good to, like, in closing, and then it just, like, ran away from me. Oh, so if I may, you know, when this came up, this opportunity came up, which I appreciate very much. I was a bit nervous, but I thought about it, and, you know, if I'm really true to myself, like, this is kind of a test to me too. If I'm true to myself and I truly believe it, then it'll be fine. And that is that, like, 2 people can have totally opposing views. We don't have to agree. I would have dinner with Matt Walsh as long as he gives me that human decency and respect that is our birthright for being born, because none of us has to be here. We're all trying to figure it out as best we can. And as long as respect is mutual, I don't care if he calls me sir. I'm going to be like, dude, that doesn't bother me. I prefer ma'am. That's just what I like. But I can't expect you to subscribe to my ideologies because you are your own individual. You think differently from me. I can explain why. Like my concept of male and female being different from man and woman. His question, what is a woman, was so clever because it's unanswerable. It's man and woman is a concept, and how do you quantify an abstract? You can't most of the time. So that's why that was such a good question. But I mean, I'm just me at the end of the day. Whatever label you want to throw on me, I'm here to help.
Well, we definitely appreciate you.
We're good at labeling here.
Dude, I would love to do it again. Meet any other people. I mean, I've at this point I'm comfortable enough with you guys. Like, if y'all got something like Kairi versus a trans hater or whatever, dude, I would do it just to see the opposing view, because they may say stuff that's like, oh well, but then I may say stuff that may make them say, oh well, you know, just for consideration. I don't want anyone to think like me. I want them to come to their own conclusions, but I do want to express love. That's the ultimate goal, man. Just love each other.
Excellent. Well, thank you again.
Do I have to love Skipper?
The what?
Do I have to love Skipper?
You don't get a choice in that. You know you love that man. Yeah, love is stinky and gross, but when you embrace it, you'll love it.
Skipper, you just found my replacement. Juan just promised me the 3M slot.
TC, you plugging anything?
Congratulations, dude.
Are you plugging anything besides the 3 a.m. slot?
Head over to Minnesota Black Robe Regiment. You can also find me on Subscribestar, Minnesota Black Robe Regiment podcast. I am asking that people go and check out, and I'll try and find a way to get a link to Skipper to put it in. Track Garrett's story. We do have a gift, or not we, but his parents have a give, send, and go, or not. Garrett's parents have a carrying bridge set up. There's a name for people who haven't paid attention to old websites in a long time, but they have a carrying bridge set up for Garrett for people to track his story. I'm trying to figure out a way that we can get the veteran community to help them out, because as far as I know, Bob, Garrett's dad, is staying in a hotel and has been since he's been out there, and he's every day in the hotel with in the hospital with his son. I'd like to get his mom out there to visit as well from here in Minnesota. And then my friend Dana Stevens is fighting a case that's revolving around the protocols regarding the COVID, and I am doing a promotion for her until the end of January, where anybody who gives $100 or more to Dana's cause either gets $15 credit towards my merchandise, which is right over my head here, coffee mugs and whatnot for the show, or anybody who spends any money on merchandise from me between now and the end of January, and to include Subscribestar and YouTube earnings, will get a $15 credit, or 50% of that will go towards Dana's expenses for her legal defense fund to push her mom's case after her mom was killed in the hospital. So we're doing that till the end of January, and then I think I'm probably going to start something up for Bob and Sue after my fundraiser for Dana. So you guys know that I don't do the show for money, and I certainly don't do the show with Skipper for money.
Well, yeah, there's not a lot of money in it. But I do want to thank everyone in the comments who joined us for VGMH. Thank you for joining us. If you can, make sure you hit the like, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, join our Facebook group, Veteran Nation. And I do want to thank our guest, Kairi, for joining us today. And for all of you out there, thank you for being worth serving.